Inspiration from Emma Hardinge Britten. Rules to be observed for the Spirit Circle. The Spirit Circle is the assembling together of a given number of persons for the purpose of seeking communion with the spirits who have passed away from earth into the higher world of souls. The chief advantage of such an assembly is the mutual impartation and reception of the combined magnetism of the assemblage. These in combination form a force stronger than that of an isolated subject, first enabling spirits to commune with greater power, next developing the latent gifts of mediumship in such members of the circle as are thus endowed, and finally promoting that harmonious and social spirit of fraternal intercourse, which is one of the especial aims of the Spirit's mission. The first conditions to be observed relate to the persons who compose the circle. These should be, as far as possible, of opposite temperaments, as positive and negative in disposition, whether male or female, also of moral character, pure minds, and not marked by points of either physical or mental conditions. The physical temperaments should contrast with each other, but no persons suffering from decidedly chronic disease or of very debilitated physique should be present at any circle unless it is formed expressively for healing purposes. I would recommend the number of circle never to be less than 3 or more than 12. An even number is generally better than an odd, and the best number is 8. When there are any persons of a mild character and negative, undecided temperaments present, the number should be uneven. The use growing out of the association of differing temperaments is to form a battery on the principle of electricity or galvanism, composed of positive and negative elements, the sum of which should be unequal. No person of a very strongly positive temperament or disposition should be present, as any such magnetic spheres emanating from the circle will overpower that of the spirits, who must always be positive to the circle in order to produce phenomena. It is not desirable to have more than 2 already well-developed mediums in a circle, mediums always absorbing the magnetism of the rest of the party. Hence, when there are too many present, the force being divided cannot operate successfully with any. Never let the apartment be overheated or even close, as an unusual amount of magnetism is liberated at a circle. The room is always warmer than ordinary and should be well ventilated. Avoid strong light, which by producing excessive motion in the atmosphere disturbs the manifestations. A very subdued light is the most favourable for any manifestations of a magnetic character, especially for spiritual magnetism. If the circle is one which meets together periodically, and is composed of the same persons, let them always occupy the same seats, unless changed under spiritual direction, and sit, as the most favourable of all positions, round a table, their hands laid on it with palms downwards. It is believed that the wood, when charged, becomes a conductor, without the necessity of holding or touching hands. I should always suggest the propriety of employing a table as a conductor, especially as all tables in household use are more or less magnetically charged already. If flowers or fruits are in the room, see they are just freshly gathered, otherwise remove them. Also, avoid sitting in a room with many minerals, metals, or glasses. These all injuriously affect sensitives, of whom mediums are the type. I recommend the séance to be opened either with prayer or a song sung in chorus, after which subdued, quiet, and harmonizing conversation is better than wearisome silence. But let the conversation always be directed towards the purpose of the gathering, and never sink into discussion or rise to emphasis. Let it be gentle, quiet, and spiritual, until phenomena begins to be manifest. Always have a slate or pen, pencil, and paper on the table, so as not to be obliged to rise to procure them. Especially avoid all entering or quitting the room, moving about, irrelevant conversation, or disturbances within or without the circle room after the séance has once commenced. The spirits are far more punctual to seasons, faithful to promises, and periodical in action than mortals. Endeavour then to fix your circle at a convenient hour, when you will be least interrupted, and do not fail in your appointments. Do not admit unpunctual late-comers, nor, if possible, suffer the air in the room to be disturbed in any way after the sitting commences. Nothing but necessary indisposition or impressions should warrant the least disturbance of the sitting, which should never exceed 2 hours, unless an extension of time be solicited of the spirits. Let the séance always extend to 1 hour, even if no results are obtained. It sometimes requires all that time for spirits to form their battery of the materials furnished. Let it be also remembered that all circles are experimental, hence no one should be discouraged if phenomena are not produced at the first few sittings. Stay with the same circle for 6 sittings. If no phenomena are then produced, provided all the above conditions are observed, you may be sure you are not rightly assimilated to each other. You do not form the requisite combinations or neutralize each other. In that case, break up and let that circle of members meet with other persons. That is, change 1, 2, or 3 persons of your circle for others, and so on until you succeed. A well-developed test medium may sit without injury for any person, or any description of character or temperament, but a circle sitting for mutual development should never admit persons addicted to bad habits, criminals, sensualists, strongly positive persons of any kind, whether rude, sceptical, violent tempers, or dogmatical. A humble, candid, inquiring spirit, unprejudiced and receptive of truth, is the only proper frame of mind in which to sit for phenomena. The delicate magnetism of which is shaped, tempered, and made or marred as much by mental as physical conditions. When once any of the circle can communicate freely and conclusively with spirits, they can and will take charge of and regulate the future movements of the circle. Impressions are the voice of spirits, speaking to spirits, or else the monitions of the spirit within us, and should always be respected and followed out, unless, which is very rare, suggestive of actual wrong in act or word. At the opening of the circle, one or more of the members are often impressed to change seats with others. One or more are impressed with a desire to withdraw, or a strong feeling of repulsion to some members of the circle makes it painful to remain there. Let any or all of these impressions be faithfully regarded, and at commencing pledge to each other the promise that no offence shall be taken by following out impressions. If a strong impression to write, speak, sing, dance, or gesticulate possesses any mind present, follow it out faithfully. It has a meaning if you cannot at first realize it. Never feel hurt in your own person, nor ridicule your neighbour for any failures to express or at first discover the meaning of the spirit impressing you. Spirit control is often deficient, and at first almost always imperfect. By often yielding to it, your organism becomes more flexible, and the spirit more experienced, and practice in control is absolutely necessary for spirits as well as mortals. If dark and evil dispossessed spirits manifest to you, never drive them away, but always strive to elevate them and treat them as you would mortals under similar circumstances. Do not always attribute falsehoods to lying spirits or deceiving mediums. Many mistakes occur in the communion of which you cannot always be aware. Strive for truth, but rebuke error gently, and do not always attribute it to design, but rather to mistake, in so difficult and experimental a stage of communion as mortals at present enjoy with spirits. Unless strictly charged by spirits to do otherwise, do not continue to hold sittings with the same parties for more than a 12-month. After that time, if not before, fresh elements of magnetism are absolutely essential. Some of the original circle should withdraw and others take their places. A model circle consists of 6 friends, half of whom are male, half female, and one person, male or female indifferent, who is an already developed medium. Of the gentlemen present has some magnetic power and rather a positive will. A second is good, gentle and kind, stout in person and very healthful, but not remarkable for intellect. The third is small, acute, observing, enthusiastic and disposed to literature. One of the ladies is very quiet, gentle and passive, of fair complexion and matronly healthful organism. The second, active, shrewd, inquisitive and dark-haired. The third, a writer or musician, and very sensitive, not strong in frame, yet not sickly. These persons are friends, and always in harmonious relation with each other. They each love spiritualism, and are candid seekers for truth. They have special opinions, but except the 2 gentlemen, number 1 and 3, and the lady, number 3, have no very marked and positive characters. These last 3 feel that they do not know everything, and desirous to learn, they seek the spirit circle for instruction. The others chiefly from love of spiritualism. They meet once a week at at 8 in the evening, lock the door, and neither admit others nor answer knocks. They always retain the same places at the same table, close their sittings at 10 exactly, and commence and open the meeting with a sweet hymn or spiritual song. They converse pleasantly, asking for their spirit friends when they meet, never seek for anything special to themselves except they first state their wishes to all the circle, and obtain their consent, knowing that a strong though unexpressed wish or feeling on the part of one member of the circle will become a sharp positive angle of magnetism, which will obstruct and perhaps neutralize the rest of the phenomena. They never, if possible, absent themselves from the circle, regarding it as a high and sacred privilege to commune with spirit friends. They never introduce strangers at the circle unless the spirits desire it, or leave is first asked and obtained of the circle and the spirits. Another model circle would be a family consisting of a father, mother, and 4 or 5 children. The same rules are observed as above, but the impressions of each must be studiously watched and followed out, as all children are more or less likely to become mediums. Should any one of the children or young people express the least dislike to sitting, respect their feelings as a wise monition from their spirit friends. Another circle may be composed of 5 or 7 males, of whom 3 at least should be of fair complexion, mild or sensitive dispositions, and young in years. A party of 5 or 7 ladies may also sit successfully for manifestations, or 2 ladies and 1 gentleman, each party observing as much of the above rules as possible. Admit no ill-disposed, mischievous, ill-tempered, dogmatic, or very sickly persons to developing circles. Seek harmonious, friendly, and spiritual natures, candid minds, reverent or truth-seeking spirits, and pure, healthful, or at least moderately healthy organisms. Endeavour to observe the rules laid down concerning temperature and freedom from disturbance within or without the circle room. Never give up in discouragement with one party. Under 6 experimental sittings, and after evidences of medium power are exhibited, even as slight as shaking of the hands, quivering of the nerves, silent entrancement, or erratic movements, continue to sit for development for at least 12 séances. Study and follow out your impressions, and especially when they urge you to withdraw from circles. Respect the circle and faithfully keep appointments made with spirits or each other. Never seek the spirit circle in a trivial or deceptive spirit. Then and then only have you cause to fear it. Never permit any one to sit in circles who suffers from ill health or mind, especially those who are exercised with violence or who become unmanageable. If such phenomena continue after 3 trials, assure yourself magnetism, in the case of such persons, is an intoxicating drug, which operates perniciously on their constitutions, and it should be carefully avoided. Every 7th person in the world can be a medium of some kind, and become developed for external and obvious manifestations through the due and judicious operations of the spirit circle. When once mediums are fully developed, the circle sometimes becomes injurious to them. When they feel this, by impression or spirit direction, to be the case, let none be offended if they withdraw from circles and only use their gifts under spirit direction in other times and places. All persons are subject to spirit influence and spiritual guidance and control, but only 1 in 7 can so externalize this power as to use it consciously, or as what is significantly called a medium. And finally, let it be ever remembered that except in the case of trance speakers, no medium can ever hope successfully to exercise their gift in large or promiscuous assembly, while trance speakers, no less than mediums, for any other gift, can never be influenced by spirits far beyond their own normal capacity in the matter of the intelligence rendered. The magnetism of the spirit and the spirit circle being but a quickening fire, which inspires the brain, stimulates the faculties, and like a hot house process on plants, forces into abnormal prominence dominant or latent powers of mind, but creates nothing. Even in the case of merely automatic speakers, writers, rapping, tipping, and other forms of test mediums, the intelligence or idea of the spirit is always measurably shaped by the capacity and idiosyncrasies of the medium. All spirit power is thus limited in expression by the organism through which it works, and spirits may control, inspire, and influence the human mind, but do not change or recreate it.